First time throwing the blade.
Okay, take a step forward.
In here?
Yeah, right there. And now make that slice all the way through. Bam.
Stand by for grinding lessons with Travis Wuertz.
I'm Travis Wuertz of Wuertz Machine Works, of course, also some other TV shows and whatnot. But here I am in the shop where we make grinders, and but we're going to do some nice stuff. Here's a customer, Phil Kenny and Amber Hargrove, and Bobby Bushcraft behind the camera there. And so I'm taking this opportunity because I've been shipping the new signature platen with this dial indicator chingasso thing on here that's called a slope set. And it's a really neat thing, and I'm going to explain it. And so here, this is old TW90 that's been modified. This is the first one I've kept, and next to another one. But this, all the same work, rest of my normal platens work on it. And I'm going to go ahead and set it up on the block. This works with all the same tool rest stuff that I've shipped for 9 years. And so I'll go ahead and make sure that's click flat. Because the first thing I want to do is find my zero. And so for that, get a 1, 2, 3 block. And I'm going to set it on my work rest. So yeah, the dial, it's already been zeroed. You know, so this would be, since this checks out to 90, and then the next part would be I turn the bezel to read 0. And so, wonderful. That's how it is every time you go back and it reads 0. So this is perfectly 90. So now this blade here, I'm going to figure out how far I want this to come back. So I can start by drawing a line, which is about here. I'm going to say, grab my calipers. There's a Sharpie 1/4 inch stock. I'm going to come back 7/8, say. We'll see what looks good. Okay, this part not too critical. So 7/8 is back a little far. Let's come back. Oh, let's come back to just even numbers. 800, 0.8. That way it's easy to measure. Instead of there, we're going to come back 0.8. That would look just fine on this knife I throw anyway. So 0.25. So my thickness is 0.25. It's going to be this thick, this simple. The thickness of the stock, or the base of the triangle, divided by the height of the triangle. This dimension. And you'll probably have a calculator before I do. But I don't know. 0.25 divided by 0.8. 3125. Okay. Yep, 3125. On a lot of the knives I actually make, like here, I went ahead and just abbreviated that down to 300, so I'd remember to do them all the same. So anyway, this is 0. I'll go ahead and let this come forward and go 100, 200, 300, and so now our slope is set. Slope set, yeah, we've set our slope on the platen, and that's the slope of this bevel, which incidentally, what did I say? I said come back 0.8. Before heat treat, this example is not as cool, because before heat treat, we're not going to come back all the way. And so it's, on my hardened blades it will be. Alright, there's no holes to pin this, and resting kind of flat there. Now, Ray, do you want to try out yours, or do you want me to make a pass to prove it works?
Make a pass.
All right. Well, so now this little light, I'll just dial that right in there, and then I grind with the push stick, and so I still tend to grind with the push block. This is just was ground to 90 degrees when my platen was grounded. Was at 90. I have this squeezed here. Now I have the ability to travel as a whole with it, but I can also come right in here, and I don't want to hit that side first, so I tend to come angling here, hovering the opposite edge off, and right as it comes in, then it anchors, and I basically, I don't let go of this. I've ground so much with the push stick that those demonstrations lead into there, because I do have to keep this anchors. But anyway, they come right in here, then I can drag as it gets towards the end, then I travel as it is together. But you'll even reference how I find little edges, like I'm resting my pinky. And so I'm going to set this up. Now I set this up basically like a table saw. Is that this looks tangent, so this is the table of the table saw. And so if I put my blade, or if this was my board and I feed through, that would barely make it cut at all. Conversely, that's going to cut almost all the way through. Visually, that would cut all the way through. So, well, I don't want that either. So, I described the center line on there, but I'm just not going to. And so I'm going to have it close on the abrasive where it's basically, say, the middle point. This abrasive line lines up about center and it's touching. I know I don't want to go to center. So, perfect. Because I'm going to push it out from there. Because if I go straight to the platen with this surface area in contact, I'm going to generate so much heat. This is going to ride here. And now the blade's going to travel and be parallel as it goes across here. So now with this, the higher I go up on the table, the more it grinds. Therefore, if I go in like this, it's going to grind the highest point, or it's going to grind the highest point. So therefore, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be slightly tilted, and I'm going to come in, and I'm going to come around here and make that curve. Okay. And basically be perpendicular at that point as I come across. And so, just in a spark field here, I'm going to come in and smoke like that, because the highest point is going to grind first. Demonstrated, the highest point grinds first. Therefore, coming in here, I can bring my face off to the side. And so that's a good start. That's that side. And so with this, it's basically just following it. And then flat to the table. And I can actually sandwich this. And even way out here, I'm actually pulling it. I don't want to make this curve too much. Right. You don't want to do that. So, and I also don't want to ride up. that's there. It's pretty dang close. It looks like anything, go maybe back. This is where a lot of people draw lines and stuff. And we're not going to hit our 0.8, see, because we're not taking it to a zero edge.
Yeah.
We're still pretty thick. And that's where we want to be. You know. And either way, you go, okay, that's there. That's here. So this side's back a little further. So we want to make a few more passes before we harden it.
Okay.
Before we harden it. And so dial back in.
Set it in.
And
That's weird the way they do that. Yeah,
basically we're just going to grind a little bit more often while you're making 2 more passes. I'll figure the rest of it out.
We'll just let you do it after that. Hey guys, what's going on? Amber Hargrove here with Knives Illustrated. I'm on day 2 at Travis Wuertz's place and we're about ready to finish up my blade.
But as I go, I can tilt this forward 300 slope. So that means around the dial indicator 100. Around the dial indicator 200. Coming around, and I'm going to stop there. Now I'll go ahead and push that up against there. And I lied when I said that there. Now I'm up against there. And dialing into 300. That angle comes from the thickness of the steel divided by the height of the grind. And no, it didn't come out to an even 300. I rounded to 300 so I could remember it and make all these blades the same. And so with that, now this is your blade here. And just so I can do a demonstration without grinding your blade, because that's for you to do, I have another one just like it. So with the slope being set with the platen, and essentially if there's another one making this triangle, that'd be the triangle of the blade. And if it goes really tall, well, that's a big blade. This is a 90-degree reference. So once I have it zeroed, any 90-degree block I can push up here. Well, this just has a ledge. And then this has been modified for that little profile deal so that can hang out. But in many cases, just a square block to push up and then drag a blade. The same example can be done with just a square push reference coming in here and dragging and shifting. But this makes it a lot easier, and this just means once I have a 90-degree reference, I can match any color. I don't need to go super fast. At this point, these blades have been hardened. I just come right in here, just like before, and I'm feeding this in. It makes contact. I shouldn't really let go of this, but it's habit from demonstrating other methods. And you'll find there's a big difference today in how it slides. Because it's using one of my prototype spring doubler plates, meaning the spring steel cover plate for a work rest that makes it slide much nicer.
It's really smooth compared to yesterday.
point, I'm pretty much just making passes and working it, make it pretty. Yeah, let there be light. And then you could maneuver that to where it's not in your line of sight. I don't know if it's better to go down or better to go here. But
Okay. Make
and
contact
just
and make it look pretty.
there you go. Yeah, just feed in with there and now drag with your left hand. Go ahead and a little more pressure there. Now drag. And then go. And then that's where I bumped it. So let's go in again. So going about like that, get positioned with your shoulder in. So they just come in just like that. Now flat pressure, see how it flattens out. So you let the pressure flatten out the blade, now travel, and then right through there. And so, yeah, perfect. So when you're coming into the belt, this hand's just floating with this, and they move in unison.
Okay.
So they're doing their little dance,
Yeah.
and then get in there, it's coming nice and straight, and it's in there. Breathe in, now let it flatten out. There you go. Keep dragging, and now travel with the tip. There you go. Look at that.
Aha!
Make a pass, evaluate. And drag that through. And so that comes back a little bit further, so we know we need to do another one. And then just come right in, because we're thinning this area. And then you can stop, because we don't need to thin much here. So we're just thinning here. Let's take a look, evaluate.
Kind of stop about right here.
Yeah, so we're going to bring this back just in this first area here a little bit more. And then we're going to move to the other side because we got a match. Yeah, so then take a look and go, okay, good. So as we look at this, we go, we're still thick at the tip. But that's okay. This is a small area. It'll bring in really easy. And so we're still a little thick here. That's a little bit beyond sharpening. Right in there, that's getting there. Well, that's as we start making that curve, so it's natural to bring that grind a little further. And so, anyway, we just got to thin our cutting edge right in here a little bit more and bring everything to a uniform thickness. We'll leave the tip slightly thicker, so it's kind of nice to know I can stick that sucker however deep I want to in a pose. And, you know, short of, you know, popping completely straight, it'll survive for the most part. And that's seeing it in throwing, you know, it's popping out pieces of lumber and surviving. Well, it's kind of, however thick or thin you make it, it's nice to know what you're going to be left with.
True.
So, and then design accordingly.
Dingleberry.
You know, and then, oh yeah, that's the dingleberry. That's to avoid decarb in the very little bit of the tip.
That's the tip of the crown.
Yeah, it don't actually hurt nothing. I mean, it's kind of, look, it's
That's a point. It's called a point protector.
yeah. This is brought. It's
okay.
just, we don't start off right there. That way you can make it all the way to that point thinking, well, this is your little safety margin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That way you always have room to go back and adjust and get them right. And then we're going to track the belt a little bit over to that side.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, no, that's the nice thing is you have that stable platform. Your blade's basically locked in. It's easy to flip up and evaluate, and you just kind of nibble away. Yeah, there's an inspection point. So, okay, this side's back maybe a little bit more than that one, but that's okay. Look, it's very nice and uniform. We're back up. We have a little bit of a gorgeous bump thing, but that's okay because this still needs to come to that.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, look how nice that is.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
You know, you're straightening it, yeah. And so that's where we go back and forth, bringing it till we get our edge thickness to where we want it. And when our edge thickness is where we want it, it'll match our dimension on the caliper at this moment. But we'll see if we're in the ballpark. Make a scratch and make a scratch. So this side here is a little bit higher, but we're still off the tip. Basically, it's time for the dingle ball to go away. Or at least most of them. Go any further. So I'm going to make a scratch on the soapstone. Then I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to make a scratch on the soapstone. Now, in this case, it just happened to basically be so close that we're not going to really...
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. That would have killed somebody.
I've been throwing the bigger ones so much.
That was perfect.
That's still no spin coming straight.
And so you've been throwing for how long?
Say a year or so. Since a little bit before meeting Jason, I guess. I haven't thrown these little guys in a while.
Ooh, that was nice.
And full spin, it's about the same. Yeah,
Now you make
faster motion in a one spin than what has to happen to slow the rotation. If on no spin here.
Nice. Tell me, Travis, who is your inspiration that started you doing this?
Well, I started myself doing it, but it didn't take long before I met Tim Hancock.
That's the guy. I saw the book. It was beautiful.
And I took my first lesson from Tim on my 13th birthday.
What a great
So
birthday.
in December, that'll be 25 years.
Wow.
And so having a great example of what can be done
Having the right mentor.
and the person that knows how it can be done.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up watching Tim. So, I'm not going to put out something crooked. And, and the lines are going to be good.
Well, I see how much precision you have, and then I saw his work in his book, and oh my gosh, his work is stunning. He's a master.
Well, Tim's work is above and beyond, and so if that's the thrower, well, that's an above and beyond thrower.
I like it. I love it. No, I think it's great. So, what is any advice you have to anybody who would like to get into the field? Any advice?
Make a lot of dust.
No, that's great. I know. I'm so glad. Thanks for having us. Knives Illustrated. And it was nice hearing about your mentor because we're so sorry for the passing. And he was inspirational to many. So I look forward to seeing your work and his and how he has molded you. So it was really inspiring. It was really good. So, yeah, anything you want to say to your fans out there?
It's hot.
We're out here breaking Arizona. And we're kicking butt, and he's an amazing knife thrower, so all I see is you get better and better every time you throw. So I look forward to seeing when you finally get done with everything. When are you going to start selling these?
I don't know. I'll post them right now.
Wait! That's my knife!